Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In my very last video, I ran through the SEC's motion for summary judgment, and I highlighted the parts that I found to be most interesting, noteworthy, so on and so forth, and I shared with you also some comments from a few attorneys within the XRP community. In this video, I'm going to run through Ripple's motion for summary judgment. And I know that there are some people that are really thrilled with Ripple's summary judgment motion here, and there's some people that said that it was, too weak or too polite and weren't too thrilled with it. And whatever your position is, that's perfectly reasonable, perfectly fine. To me, it was like a 93-page masterpiece, effectively. And so for the people that weren't really thrilled with it, I don't know if they wanted more emotion in it, but as a person who just purely is interested, on like the facts and logic of what's going on in the actual circumstances here, the logic tore apart the SEC. It ripped them a new one. So to anybody who says this is too weak or polite, hey, respect your opinion. But my personal position is that they don't need to be using emotion really to win the case here, and it doesn't need to be worded in a more forceful manner to get these specific ideas across. So however you feel about it, again, it's perfectly reasonable to speculate or to have an opinion on either side of that. But I'm going to go through, and I printed this bad boy, this thing, hear that? It's 93 pages of pure majesty. This is a 93-page masterpiece. And as was the case with the SEC's motion for summary judgment, I had to staple this in two separate packets. I do have a mega stapler that I think can handle up to about 60 pages. And so given this is 93, I more or less chopped it in half, basically. And then I've got a bunch of highlighted stuff, made some notes, and I got a bunch of little sticky tabs sticking out of the pages where I wrote stuff so I don't miss anything, and it looks ridiculous. So it's going to be a good time going through this, and I'll tell you, even though this is not intended to be all-encompassing because that would take like 6 hours, a lot of what I make sure to cover pretty in-depth here is stuff having to do with Ripple's arguments regarding specific prongs of the Howey, most importantly, or most interesting to me at least, the arguments surrounding common enterprise. Because the SEC insists there's a common enterprise, and I'm telling you, Ripple absolutely destroyed this concept. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Shout out and credit to James K. Filan, who is an attorney, and he is a member of the XRP community. He shared this legal document, which we are now going to be running through. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to say in the coming days and weeks, future videos on this topic, no doubt. But this is a pretty good jump start on this, even though there's no way I could possibly cover this whole thing in any sort of reasonable amount of time if I'm going to do it sufficiently. But I think this is a good start, personally. And this is stuff that, again, like I said, I found to be most interesting. So for those of you looking at your screen, I'm going to try to remember to scroll down, but I'm actually going to be reading off of the pages that I printed here. And let me get to the first one, because a lot of it's just like introductory and background, and I'm skipping over that because I don't think we particularly need that stuff, even though I read the whole document myself, but I don't think we need like the history of Ripple and the XRP ledger and stuff within here. So the first thing I highlighted was actually on page 7. So let me scroll on down here. Come on, there we go, with the almost there, right? Here's an entertaining scroll song for you. This is my scroll song, just like I did in the last video. Skibbity-doo-bop, it's a good song. Looking for page 7. There we are. Okay. So if you look at C, the XRP ledger and XRP, check this out. Ripple does not own the XRP ledger. The ledger's underlying code is open source. Anyone can use the XRP ledger, submit transactions to the XRP ledger, propose changes to its source code, or develop applications that run on the XRP ledger. Indeed, other users of the XRP ledger can implement changes to the XRP ledger's code without Ripple's input, and even over Ripple's express objections. This has happened recently. In June 2020, over Ripple's objection, the XRP ledger's code was modified to introduce a check writing feature, which allows one account to claim funds from another. So upon reading that, I'm just sitting here thinking, what common enterprise? What type of common enterprise doesn't have control over its own enterprise? Does does that make any damn sense? It's like it's too easy shooting fish in a barrel. I don't know what sick bastard does that, but I'm just saying it's so easy for these for these weak ass SEC asshat arguments to just fall apart. They just fall apart. Like just like almost no effort, in fact. Oh, and take a look at this. I found this really interesting too. Starting right here where I'm highlighting for those of you looking on your screen. Several major charities accepted XRP for donations, including the American Red Cross, the American Cancer Society, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and Fidelity Charitable. So I just got to say, do charities, let me ask this, do charities normally accept donations in the form of investment contracts? Is this a normal thing for charities to do? Send over, what's that? You want to donate some to charity, Apple? Why don't you go ahead and just send over some of that sweet, sweet Apple stock, and that'll count as payment. Does that ever happen? Is that a thing? Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. How about that? Kind of curious, isn't it? Now, if you look right here where I'm now highlighting, towards the bottom of the page, reads as follows. Before the SEC filed this lawsuit, XRP was listed on more than 200 exchanges globally. Only 6 of those exchanges had contracts with Ripple relating to their listing of XRP. So look, the SEC's claims that Ripple is the reason for global XRP markets, it's just simply not true. And they went to great lengths, the SEC did in their motion for summary judgment. I highlighted a lot of what they had to say in my very last video. And if you just look at the facts and circumstances here, the global market exists not because of Ripple. I mean, not that they didn't have any sort of impact at all, but if you're talking about over 200 exchanges globally, and there were 6 of them where Ripple had any impact whatsoever, what the hell are you talking about? The SEC's claims that Ripple is the reason for these global XRP markets doesn't stand up to simple facts and simple logic. But that's the case with the vast majority of what they're arguing here. Now let me jump a little bit further. Where's my next tab? One sec here, folks. Might be this one. Getting closer. Okay, so I got to go down to page 27 now. Here, I'm just going to try and scroll down here a little faster. Scroll song. Almost there. Sorry, folks, just one second here. I'm doing this for the people. I know not everybody cares, but there's a certain amount of people, and I respected that, want to see the stuff on the screen. Maybe you're watching on a TV. I got you, bro. No problem. This part right here. I love this. This is absolutely fantastic. Check this out. Without a contract that grants rights to the investor and imposes obligations on the seller, the SEC's position is unmoored from statutory language and from the precedent construing that language. Even if some, or even as the SEC will no doubt argue many, XRP purchasers bought XRP for speculative purposes, that does not make it an investment contract. Many assets are bought with the hope of selling at a higher price, without becoming securities. Folks, this is the stuff that we've been arguing for so long, and it was really highlighted recently in the SEC v. Library case. So if anybody buys anything because they think it'll be worth more, that now makes it a security. Because that's literally what the SEC has been arguing in that case, and seems to be the case here as well. So Beanie Babies, if you buy them and you hope that they're worth more in the future, that's a security, that like right there, because you want something new. What if you buy a home and expect that when you sell it in the future, might be worth more? You know, pick anything. Pick any. It doesn't matter what it is. If that's the litmus test, and it's not, everything's a security. Which is why this is so stupid. It's such a piss poor argument. The SEC just grasping at straws here. All right, now let's scroll down to 28, page 28. Here we go. All right. Let's look at section B here. Titled, XRP does not have the essential ingredients of an investment contract. The SEC has the burden to show that each specific offer and sale of XRP by defendants is an investment contract. It is undisputed that Ripple had and has no contract at all with many XRP recipients and was not even involved with most XRP trading in the secondary markets. Even when Ripple sold XRP directly through contracts, those contracts included none of the ingredients present in Howey. They imposed no post-sale obligations on Ripple to work for the benefit of XRP purchasers and conveyed to XRP purchasers no entitlement to any share of Ripple's profits. Each of those deficiencies is independently fatal to the SEC's claims. So, folks, this is why I keep telling you when it comes to, like, when we say that the SEC is wrong from a legal perspective, this is why. When it comes to the specific facts and circumstances, they're not even faithfully applying this to actual law. And they're not looking at actual precedent with any sort of respect for the past at all. I know it's ridiculous, but this is what they're actually pushing for here. And in fact, I don't know if I highlighted this, so I'll just mention it. But since we're on the topic, at some point later on, the SEC, Ripple's attorneys rather, they go on to cite that in many of these contracts with the third party, so mind you, none of them are to retail purchasers or anything like that. They're just like typically on-demand liquidity partners, but they cite that specifically. Not only was there no promise in the future, but they explicitly go out of the way to note that there is no promise of anything in the future, in particular regarding the Ripple shares or price appreciation of XRP or anything like that. They go out of their way to say that's not the case, and both parties agreed. Yep, that's the case. So it's even worse than what the SEC would have you believe. All right, now let's jump over to page 29. There's a lot of good stuff all in a row here. All right, so go to right about here. All right, the SEC cannot show any contract involving Ripple for any of the following categories of transactions, among others. And I love this section. Check this out. This includes founder sales. 20 billion XRP were retained by Jed McCaleb, Larson, and Brito and never belonged to Ripple. None has been sold as part of any contract involving Ripple. So we'll note that Larson, of course, is Chris Larson, co-founder of Ripple, and then there's Arthur Brito, who is a co-founder of XRP and the XRP Ledger. Next was exchange-based sales. When XRP is sold on exchanges, there is no contract or privity between the buyer and the seller. Rather, a buyer communicates to the exchange that it wants to buy XRP, and the exchange matches a blind sell offer with a blind buy offer. Exactly. So where's the damn contract in that? Where's the contract from buyer to seller? Well, it doesn't exist, obviously, by the way. Then moving to the next page, they start talking about giveaways, because Ripple did give away XRP. Well, they've done it for a number of reasons. They did it, back in, I think it was 2014, just like to anybody that wanted it with no express contract. There were no contract period, and then also as charity. So anyway, here it is at the top. Giveaways. Ripple in its early years, 2013 through 2015, gave away at least 500 million XRP to early adopters, programmers, and developers. No contracts accompanied those giveaways, nor did Ripple receive any consideration. Accordingly, for at least 24.4 billion of the XRP not owned by Ripple today, the SEC has no evidence of any contract between Ripple and the party receiving the XRP. Without such a contract, there cannot be an investment contract within the meaning of the Securities Act. And then jumping down a little bit further to right here, where I'm highlighting, reads as follows. When asked in discovery, the SEC refused to identify a contractual basis for a single offer and sale of XRP. Now, why wouldn't the SEC explicitly cite even one single example of an investment contract? Why wouldn't they do that? Because there are none. How is the SEC ever going to win this damn thing? Like, there's literally, when asked, the SEC will not point to an investment contract. They just say investment contract, as if that just does the job for them. I know, absurd, but this is what they're actually doing. This is what they think is going to be a winning strategy for them. I'm a bit skeptical of that. Page 31. It's going so swimmingly for the SEC, isn't it? Yes. Right here where I'm highlighting. Okay. Although Ripple does not have the burden of proof, it has submitted an unrebutted expert analysis of more than 1,700 contracts under which Ripple sold, made purchases with, or otherwise transferred XRP from 2013 to 2020. The 1,700 arm's-length contracts addressed a wide variety of different commercial contexts, varying substantially over the 8-year period at issue. but it is undisputed that not one of the contracts, quote, included an express provision that obligated Ripple to perform post-sale duties that could affect the value of XRP or return profits to any person, end quote. So look, Ripple volunteered the 1,700 contracts because they know none of them fit the legal definition of investment contract. The SEC knows this too, which is why they ignored these contracts. Ripple actually handed over what would be evidence if it were useful to them, but the SEC just ignored it. Why might that be? And I didn't even know that Ripple had done this. If this had been publicly made known in the past, I guess I just missed it or I don't remember it. But I was like, what? Ripple handed over 1,700 actual contracts, and they did it because they have the confidence and they understand that it doesn't meet, those contracts don't meet the legal definition of investment contract, which is what the whole damn case is about. Because that's the totality of the contracts that Ripple ever had through that entire time period. Think about that. That's the totality of all the contracts. None of them, not one of them, meets the definition of investment contract. That's stunning. Some of these people that say that Ripple's being too polite, I'm like, what more did you want from them? Do you want them to get a little sassy like Moon Lambo does and call them asshats and be like, you little bitch, little baby back bitch? I mean, that would be fun. I don't think it would be professional. Like, I'm a dude on the internet who may or may not currently be wearing pants, and I run a YouTube channel called Moon Lambo. Like, I can say that stuff. What do you expect from Ripple? You know what I'm saying? I think it's all good. All right, moving along here. Oh, that was actually the end of what I'm covering in the first chunk, so let's throw that on the ground. And let's go to the second packet, 2 of 2, which ends on page 35. Where did I start highlighting stuff? Oh, here we go. So I got to jump all the way to page 38. Okay. Now this gets super duper interesting because now we're into the common enterprise stuff. Now this topic has always been endlessly interesting to me, and to see what Ripple is finally saying as we're approaching the end of this lawsuit, the motion for summary judgment, to see how they describe this, my God, I think they did a fantastic job. You guys tell me what you think, but check this out. I'm going to cover big chunks of this, but not literally all of it. Here we go, over section B. The SEC cannot prove any common enterprise. Howey's common enterprise element requires the SEC to prove that defendants offered recipients of XRP the economic equivalent of stock in a business enterprise. Just pause there. The SEC never tries to prove this because they can't. They literally, this is, that's telling too, isn't it, right? What kind of half-baked scheme does the SEC actually have? Like, it's so absurd how stupid this is. That the Ripple even has to argue this is just like offensive on its face. But it is what it is. Anyway, Ripple's attorneys continue. Stated another way, the common enterprise element requires the SEC to prove that the holder of the alleged investment contract obtained a participatory interest in the future economic performance of a business enterprise. Land sales contracts and warranty deeds were stand-ins for common stock in determining the investor's allocable shares in the profits. In Howey, all the elements of a profit-seeking business venture were present. Quote, the investors provide the capital and share in the earnings and profits. The promoters manage, control, and operate the enterprise, end quote. No oranges were sold to the investors, only an interest in a large citrus growing enterprise. So here, let's look at that description, which, I mean, is fully accurate. Clearly, the facts and circumstances in the Howey case, it is nothing like Ripple or XRP. It's not even close. It's truly not even close. And let's go continue this, page 40. Yes, right here. There's another section titled, the SEC cannot identify a common enterprise under existing Second Circuit law. And it reads as follows. The SEC's definition of common enterprise has shifted since it sued defendants. In its amended complaint, the SEC first appeared to claim that Ripple itself was the common enterprise in which XRP holders had an interest. Investors who purchased XRP in the offering invested into a common enterprise with other XRP purchasers as well as Ripple. That's what the SEC said, and they also said Ripple pooled the funds it raised in the offering and used them to fund its operation. So again, that's a direct quote from the SEC. And then Ripple attorneys continue and they say, the SEC has since conceded that XRP holders have no right to share in Ripple's earnings and profits. Rather, Ripple has issued shares to investors in its business who have rights to share in those earnings and profits. That concession dooms any argument that Ripple is the common enterprise. So think about this. Already doomed there. The SEC recognized they were doomed there. And this is one of multiple instances throughout this the pretrial stuff of this case where the SEC is like, yeah, that was a bad argument. And then they just shift gears. There's a new story. So here's what happened. Check this out. That concession, sorry, I read that. I'll just read it again for flow. The concession that concession dooms any argument that Ripple is the common enterprise. The SEC accordingly changed its theory mid-litigation, answering an interrogatory asking it to, quote, identify the enterprises or ventures, if any, in which you contend XRP holders acquired a stake in by virtue of their purchase of XRP from defendants, and the SEC stated the following, which is this quote right here on your screen. The commission responds that it contends that XRP holders were invested in Ripple's efforts to create a use for and demand for XRP. XRP holders hoped to profit from a potential increase in the value of XRP based on Ripple's efforts to create a use for XRP and develop the XRP ecosystem, potentially increasing demand for the token. And then Ripple's attorneys continues and state, it has never precisely defined that ecosystem, but under any formulation, the SEC's theory fails under Second Circuit precedent for at least two reasons. And these are good. There's two reasons I'm about to read you. I like the second one even more, but here's the first one. First, the SEC identifies the alleged enterprise only by reference to Ripple's efforts to create a use for XRP and develop the XRP ecosystem. The SEC thus uses exactly the test for common enterprise that the SEC's Second Circuit rejected in Revic. And so I'll just note, of course, Revic, that's a separate SEC lawsuit. And then it reads as follows. A mere showing that the fortunes of investors are tied to the efforts of the promoter. And that's a quote. That error is fatal to the SEC's argument for a common enterprise, and hence the SEC's entire case. Okay, so that's good enough. But this next one I actually enjoyed reading even more. So check it out. Here's the second reason. The second, a universal characteristic of a common enterprise. Let me scroll down for you guys. Look at your screen a little bit. Second, a universal characteristic of a common enterprise is that the investor invests in a profit-seeking business venture that the promoter can manage, control, and operate. The XRP ecosystem is no such venture. It includes the open source XRP ledger, i.e. publicly available computer code, independent developers, exchanges, and myriad holders and users of XRP. That is not a profit-seeking business in whose profits an XRP holder holds any participatory interest, and certainly not one under the defendant's control. And so look, folks, a decentralized system cannot satisfy the Howey test. So XRP can't be a security. And this is also why I've been saying for the longest damn time, what if you really want to, keep using the Howey to, as a determining factor of whether or not something is a security, okay, but the SEC needs to provide, or Congress needs to make this happen somehow, additional clarity on what constitutes a decentralized system, because if that were clear, if there's clear letter of the law on that topic, that gets you like 90% of the way there in terms of solving all of these questions. And then entrepreneurs, if they do such things, they wouldn't really feel the need to go overseas. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yes, that would be lovely. All right, bottom page 42 now. Here we go. There we go. Starting right here. Okay. Consider what the SEC might equally well label the gold ecosystem. Oh, folks, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Oh, this is so powerful. Consider what the SEC might equally well label the gold ecosystem. Many individuals and firms seek to profit from the purchase, sale, or use of gold. The gold ecosystem would thus consist of gold miners, refiners, metalworkers, wholesalers, jewelers, industrial manufacturers, commodity traders, investors, e-commerce platforms, jewelry collectors, and wearers. Plenty of participants in that ecosystem may well be for-profit businesses, from the miners who extract the gold to the jewelry stores selling rings to the gold futures traders and the speculators in the gold spot market. But the ecosystem as a whole is not a business venture. Buying a gold ring or a gold bar or a gold futures contract does not put the purchaser into a common enterprise with any other jewelry owners, with anyone who invests in gold as a hedge against inflation, with any electronics company that maintains an inventory of gold to use in microchips, or with any other participant in the gold market ecosystem. And certainly not with all of them at once. Some may profit or lose money in varying degrees depending on when and how they buy and sell from price swings. Some may profit from price declines depending on their trading and hedging positions, and some may simply wear the gold they bought or use it in other products. The only thing they have in common is that they face the same market price for gold. That is precisely the same relationship that holders of XRP have and the supposed XRP ecosystem articulated by the SEC. Woo! That one to me is fire. I just, again, that's why I keep going back to, like, are we supposed to be yelling obscenities at the SEC? That's my, like, I'll do that. That's fine. They're asshats. They're little pricks. They're evil creatures that nature accidentally made. I'll take care of that stuff. But we don't need Ripple's lawyers to be saying that stuff. Look, that's a fantastic display of the SEC's failure of logic. Because isn't that a more reasonable comparison? You know, that alleged gold ecosystem, because that's what they're arguing regarding the XRP ecosystem. Everything, that's all a common enterprise. Anyone having anything to do with gold, they're part of a common enterprise that under Howey it's satisfied. That is ridiculous. That is offensive that they're even arguing this crap. Now you go down to the bottom of page 43 here, reads as follows, starting right here. It could just as well be said that all owners of gold share a common interest in the price of gold, or that all owners of soybeans or of pigs share a common interest in the price of soy or pork. Those owners are still not engaged in a common enterprise because they do not depend upon one another to earn profits or sales. Common interest is no substitute for common enterprise and does not satisfy the SEC's burden under Howey. So there you go. There's where the distinction needs to be made. Common interest is not the same thing as common enterprise. Now, and that's important because common enterprise is the legal standard in Howey. The SEC is not satisfying that. And so they end up going to much of this I'm going to skip over now, and I'm just going to go to like the end of this. Not that it wasn't interesting, but a lot of it had to do with they start jumping into like, you know, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. Maybe we can talk about that more in a separate video, and like, you know, how and why XRP was sold and stuff like that. But at some point I gotta like make, you know, editorial calls, so to speak, in terms of what to include in a video. So I'm going to go down to the conclusion, which is comical, and you're about to see why the conclusion that Ripple writes is comical. So on page 75, how far are we? We're almost there, right? I'm at 66, yeah, we're almost there. One last scroll song, all up in this page, almost on page 75, scroll song. Here it is. Here's a conclusion. It's one sentence. The court should grant summary judgment in favor of defendants. I love it. Mic drop, bitches. There you go. Conclusion. The court should grant summary judgment in favor of defendants. So typically in the conclusion, they'll just kind of rehash a lot of the same ideas, but I guess they just felt like it was already so eloquently stated that they didn't need to. And plus there were page limitations, so presumably that would be a factor to some degree. But still, I saw the one sentence and I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, nice. So there we are. Look, and I know there's a ton more to say on this topic. Like I said, I know this isn't all encompassing, but you know, if we're going to cover every single aspect of this thing, like, do you have half a day? So let me know what you think. We'll let the community discussion continue to below and on social media platforms, of course, but I'm going to wrap up here for now. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.